We've got a fantastic session coming up now, Dana. Really excited about this one. So this one's coming from the legend Luca Cipriani, who's joining us from Arduino. So yeah, it's going to be talking to us about how to save precious time with GitHub Actions. So without further ado, let's head straight in and go talk to Luca. So Luca's coming up next. Let's go now.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. I'm Luca, CIO at Arduino. I'm here with Harry Potter and the GitHub Octopus, our mascot, obviously, here. So today I'm going to spend some time to explain you how to save time with GitHub Action and how we use them at Arduino. So it's going to be an overview of different. I will start with explaining you what Arduino is doing with open source more in general, share some data with you, and obviously also tell you the story and the idea we got after we have seen that the GitHub action were available, and then how we are using them in the daily activities and also what we plan for the future. So Arduino obviously is very popular for the boards and the electronics, but actually it became popular for two main different reasons. One is the software behind that, but more importantly is the community of people that are continuously contributing all together and helping us in delivering a lot more examples, tutorials for newcomers, but also professional people started inventing with it. So that came out a lot of, the 3D printers, drones, and many other things. And as of now, people also in the industries are using Arduino for daily activities. And this is all happening in the open source ecosystem. So obviously, GitHub is a big part of it as well. So we are not just an electronic company, but more like an open source platform for everyone. To give you some numbers, there are really millions of people, more than 20 million per year, that use our own IDE, which is obviously open source on GitHub, and also 100,000 people that are using currently our new Arduino command line tool. That is something I'm going to speak about later today. But more in general, as an open source contributor, we continuously develop more than 250 public repositories on our account, which is quite interesting because our company is not really huge, but this is coming out especially from the contributors and external contributors, and obviously we drive and we maintain the high security and quality standards of the code. So the different components that are really famous are, I don't know what's going on. Okay. So we were using GitHub Action, and before using GitHub Action, we were using different tools, widely popular tools. Really, I think everyone knows them, and they are good for doing CI and CD. But what is really hard is maintaining them. And for us, as said, we are not a super big corporate. Maintaining tools is really a pain, and also sometimes it can lend to have, outdated software with some security implication and can give us some issues. So I think it was 2 years ago, in 2018, and probably in October or so, that was GitHub really launched those new GitHub Actions. So I was pretty excited about it because it was an online event, and it became a private beta, I think. And I say, okay, this is really interesting because it's going to change not just how CI/CD works, but more in general, how do you develop something? Because it's really towards also my culture, which is really DevOps oriented. This is mixing up a bit, having the developers feel confident also to run their own pipeline for continuous integration, and also to deploy directly on stage or to release something online publicly available. So this is really interesting for everyone, I think. So when really not Friedman announced it, I said, okay, this is Eureka, a completely new idea and changing the business, but not just for technical reason, but mainly because of the GitHub community. Because every new interesting technology that is being picked up by the GitHub community is going to be the standard for a new generation of developers. And this is extremely important for us. So it's not just a matter of technology, but a matter of people. So that's what really gave us a new, interesting view about continuous integration, continuous development, and deployment, and a lot of different things we are going to see. But now there is really our own challenge. The Arduino challenge is not about just testing the software, but also about testing the hardware. And my background is really in the software industry. And then when I joined Arduino, I started playing with these boards. So, they are really tiny, and there is something physical and tangible. You have to wait interrupts. So you can't retry too many times something because maybe it could electronically break. So you need to be extremely careful. And also you want to orchestrate all those tests on physical hardware externally by some software. So there is a tight interaction between hardware and software. This is extremely challenging because we do have, as said, a lot of libraries directly created by us, so more than 90s, but there are out there really thousands of libraries created by the community. And you want to run tests on top of them. You want to check compatibility with different kind of boards. You want to help the community in having high standards. And you can also suggest some good libraries across others. So testing everything obviously is a complex task and is not finished yet, but this tool is really helping us in achieving that. The same applies with integration tests. So not just the unit test internally for the libraries, but also understand if they are working across many different platforms, not just platform in the sense of Arduino, so really microcontrollers, but also the tools that we use like the Java IDE, the command line tool, and many other. They work on Mac, on Linux, on Windows, really on a ton of different machines. We use the Go programming language, and they also have to run on x86 or ARM machines. And all those different combinations have to work all together because millions of people are using those products and libraries. So you have to guarantee that they are going to work always. That said, we started with were really confident about because it was an entirely new project. Our Arduino command line tool is a tool that allows you to program an Arduino board directly from the command line. So it's pretty nice for developers, obviously, and for professionals. We had to test the Arduino CLI itself. So we started writing some Go tests, and then we had to run them every time we created a new pull request. So we started creating a GitHub action because it was really easy to start with. And then if we made mistake, it wasn't really a big deal because we didn't need a separate team, like an operation team, to set up a new server with some CI tool on it and so forth. We were just experimenting with it, see how it was, and then eventually decide. And we decided to pick this technology because from starting a prototype to actually having those functional tests in production was really a few clicks away and writing a YAML file. So extremely easy for any kind of professional developers. And the other big thing was it was announced a bit later, but GitHub Action allows you to run your own self-hosted runners on any kind of hardware you want, included ARM, and obviously Raspberry run on ARM. So we decided to experiment a bit with it. And because the command line tool already runs on ARM, you can basically attach a lot of different boards on a Raspberry, run the GitHub Action self-hosted runner inside the Raspberry Pi, and use that to test the hardware connected to it, which is really something I think completely new to the industry. So this is our test rig. It's still under development, but as you can see, there is an LCD display that gives us the output of the test, and also there is physical equipment. As I said, the complexity is the interaction between the software and the physical system. There are those pogo pins that physically connect with the electronics of the hardware. As you can see, this is the board. So it's really, really connected physically to those pins. And then we can, thanks to an FPGA board, understand what's going on at an electronic level, and then put all those reports in as an output of the GitHub action. So this is going and one of those boards. So this is an example. And the interesting thing is that for us, the GitHub action is kind of gluing everything together. So it's hiding the complexity, which is also one of the main goal of Arduino. That means will allow novice to understand what they are doing, but at the same time, we let professionals to save a ton of time, and that's another main goal for us. So for the Arduino CLI, what we did, as you can see, there is a GitHub directory. Then we also started creating new release. So we started with the test, and then we said, okay, we can even release the CLI by using GitHub Action. So everything is open source, and you can check it out. But this is the way on how we release new command line tool really every 2 weeks or so to the general public audience. Why we are doing that? Because allow us not to do every task automatically, but it allows us to spot issues immediately. And that's a major thing for us because debugging is extremely important. As said, there are many pieces going on together. So spotting errors is crucial for us because it will save us a lot of time. You can really filter everything for, I don't know, failure status. You can click on the interface, immediately get what's going on, and also understand what is the last line that has been run and failed, and eventually decide what is going to be the strategy about that. So this is extremely not just useful, but really saving time for us. So once we did that on this project, obviously the developers started to be extremely excited about that, and they wanted to use it pretty much everywhere. So we had, in the same project, we needed to create the documentation for the command line tool. And we say, okay, why don't we set up another GitHub action to automatically generate the documentation coming from the source code and from other resources. And that's what we did. It was pretty linear. So we started doing that. And the output of this GitHub action is this beautiful website that is again running on arduino.github.io. What's the main advantage is that really allow us to not having any interaction like registering a new domain, setting up a new server before going online. We are a fast startup kind of company, even if we exist in the last many years, I think more or less 14 years or so, but we still act as a startup. So the interesting thing is that this allows us to quickly have a prototype, put it in production, and now at least the users have the proper documentation that is automatically updated. It's extremely important because Arduino is really a user-facing company. And our community is also our users and our customers at the same time. So we want to deliver very fast and daily. And this is perfect for us. So once, obviously, people started writing more and more code, then our developer became kind of enthusiastic and even crazy about GitHub Actions. So we started having our own GitHub Action, which is again interesting because now if you want to test your own hardware that is Arduino compatible, you can use the Arduino CLI as a GitHub action. So you can include the Arduino CLI itself as a GitHub action. And so we are enriching the ecosystem, and we are letting other people create on top of it. So it's again a community and open source goal altogether, but also raising the bar of the quality for the industry as well. So I think I got you a pretty good overview of all the tools and the setup that is needed for running a CLI. And the last project I will speak about, this is closed source, but just because this is an internal project, but would like to show you, even if it is this internal, what are the full capabilities of the GitHub Action and how we leverage them. The nice thing is that it's not just for continuous integration and continuous delivery, but you can do a lot more. Like in those actions that I'm going to show you right now, we set up an entire new Kubernetes cluster by using a GitHub action. We can deploy a new staging environment or developer environment with just a single click. And there are just a few YAM files with some recipe in it, and everyone in the company can understand it. That's another big goal. So because we are going to align to this strategy, everyone in the company, if it is a front-end developer, back-end developer, or a firmware engineer, it doesn't matter. We are going to use the same tool. They are shared across the company. So we have easy action to tear down a development environment and create a new cluster, or just run tests on a specific application, or even tagging and labeling a pull request and GitHub issue, which is extremely interesting for a company that is mainly doing open source, obviously. So I hope that you understood a bit more how GitHub Action work, but I also hope that you just don't trust only myself, but you give it a try alone and for yourself, because you can't damage anything. It's everything hosted. Just configure everything. There is also a nice UI interface. You click, you test it, and that's it. I invite you also to ask me any question in the question and answer session. And I want to thank you, all of you. Thanks.
It's fascinating. Actions is really easy. If you saw last year, favorite action was ordering a pizza. Just tell you what, action has become more important than ever. I think I've used it since I've been at home for I don't know how many days. But also, the self-hosted runners and being able to, in parallel, go and run all of your actions for your CI/CD pipeline. It's just awesome. It's just awesome. But Martin, what did you like?
Oh, I'm a big fan of Arduino, as you know, Dana, and anything IoT and all that sort of stuff. Luca, I just wanted to show you this. The original, I dug this out, one of the original Uno a very long time ago. Yeah, work. And what's fantastic is the just the way that everything's open source, all the designs, everything, and the fact all your actions were open source as well. That's just phenomenal. So when people want to figure out how you've done this stuff, like that hardware in the loop testing you were doing, that just blew my mind. So was that working with? So that was calling down, running a self-hosted runner locally that was talking back up to actions in the cloud, and then that's how it was able to talk to the devices. Is that how that worked?
Yeah, actually, it's running in the factory. So in the factory, there is this test rig with the Raspberry in it, so you can flash and program every single board, because we test every single board before going online. And so yeah, that is incredible, because it's really allows us to have some kind of mixed environment. Obviously, once you start working directly with the hardware, initially, if you are coming from a web background, it feels a bit strange, no? Because there is physical hardware and you can trigger it, but also it feels really empowering, because you are changing the physics of and the bits for real, not just on a virtual environment.
That's fantastic. So, as you mentioned, you're going to be in the discussions area, and you're going to be taking Q&A from the audience. And we've got some questions in already. So, if it's okay with you, I just want to take you through a couple. So, we've got the first one here, and this is related just to what we were talking about. Actually, it's from Tini M. Lakar, I think that is. Anyway, well, no. Apologies for butchering your handle there. Whatever. Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so they wanted to know, can you use actions then to push the code to the Arduino device? And how do you do that? How does that work? More people want to understand this hardware in the loop stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That's the nice thing, because the Arduino CLI is not just a CLI in the, let's say, classical sense, but what is really innovative about it, it has, and I'm going to be pretty technical here, but I think everyone here is probably a developer. So it has a gRPC interface on top of it. So you can interact with it also by using basically WebSocket or a kind of HTTP-like interface. I'm simplifying a bit, but yes, and you also can use the CLI, so our own, let's say, official action in your pipeline. So you can create your own action, call the CLI, have your own environment, and directly upload your sketch on your board. So yes, it's absolutely possible.
Fantastic. Dana, is there any other questions?
Well, I just wanted to know, do you use GitHub Actions in other projects and teams? How widespread has this adoption been at Arduino?
Absolutely stunning, because really this week also the content and marketing team started using the GitHub Actions to publish new tutorials on our public website, because we are used to create statically copy of our website and publish it on some kind of CDN. So they started themselves by using GitHub Action, and they are really able to at least have a POC completely working on GitHub, and that's it.
Wow, that is awesome. So you heard it here from Luca. Look for more awesome new open source projects coming from Arduino. We're excited. Martin's a huge fan. But yeah, I want to thank you. And just a reminder, Luca will be available for the next 30 minutes doing more Q&A in our discussions. You can hit him up at githubsatellite.com/discussions. So Martin, I thought I've been seeing you take a look at your phone a couple of times. Have you checked Twitter while we've been streaming?
Oh, I tell you what, let's before we get into that, let's say goodbye to Luca. So, hey, Luca, we'll see you later, and then take care.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.